This is Joshua Hart for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Frank Smith here in Manchester. Frank, big day, Jack Catterall, Harlem Eubank launch press conference. First of all, how is everything? How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Good to be here. Manchester, back at the AO Arena. Looking forward to a great night come July 5th.
Get straight into things and talk about this fight. For Jack Catterall, why Harlem Eubank? What was it about Harlem Eubank that stood out?
Look, I think it's the perfect fight for both guys, and I understand why both guys are taking it. You know, Jack's obviously coming off the back of that Arnold Barboza defeat. You know, I think he'll be kicking himself because he knows he could have done more in that fight. But I think Harlem Eubank's obviously it's a hot name right now, and Harlem Eubank's got a great profile himself, and I think it's the perfect fight. Whoever comes out the winner of this sets themselves up for big fights down the line. You know, it's definitely a step up for Harlem Eubank. Hasn't operated at this level, but you know, you have to try it at one point, and I think he had a great win against Tyrone McKenna recently. But yeah, I think it's the perfect fight for both guys.
Why is now the right time for Catterall to move up from super lightweight to welterweight? What discussions were had?
Look, I think he would have stayed at super lightweight. He could have still made the weight, but I think he felt this was a good opportunity to move up to 147. There's a lot of fighters moving up to the 147 division as well now, and he sees a lot of opportunity there. And you know, he spent a long time at the weight, and I think that was the focus for him, is to make the biggest fight possible and the best fight possible. Look, he could have come back in a fight, in a comeback fight against a name none of us have ever heard of, and I don't think he would have done anything for his career. So I think he's made the right call here. I think it's the right thing to do, and I think we're in for a great fight night come July 5th.
Do you expect Chris Eubank Sr. to be playing any role in this fight?
I'm not sure he's here today, but I didn't know he was coming last time. So, but he's very close with Harlem. Obviously, he's been involved in a number of his fights. He's a star. We all know that. He adds a lot to the events, to the promotion. So it'd be great to have him here, and for Harlem as well. You know, because he's played a big part of his career for sure.
And for Jack, obviously, all focus on July 5th. But if all goes well there, where do you look at taking him next? What fights do you target after that?
I think there's a lot happening in the 147 division. You know, if he choose, I would expect he stays at 147 after this. When you look at the options, you know, Boots is obviously the IBF and WBA champion. He's got a mandatory coming up with the winner of Crocker Donovan, which is all done and will be finalised soon. Then you've got the Giasov is the mandatory for the WBA as well. You know, so we'll see how things play out there. Brian Norman, not really much going on right now. Mario Barrios obviously fighting Manny Pacquiao. So I don't think it'd be a world title shot next, but I think a big name after this, and then onto a world title shot from there.
Before Josh Taylor fought at the weekend, we saw reports of both being up at 147 now, possible trilogy fight on a 5v5 maybe, but obviously seeing what happened at the weekend, Josh Taylor coming up short against Eko Esserman, would you still have any interest in a Josh Taylor trilogy? Or
I think I always say about losses, like, I think sometimes we put too much on it, where it's about fights that sell and are captivating and have the build-up, but then also deliver. You know, Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall 2 was a tremendous fight, wasn't it? You know, Jack Catterall won that one, but I don't think a loss should define a fighter's career or end a fighter's career. I think it should be their decision. If Josh Taylor decided to retire now, you'd say best of luck to him. He's had a tremendous career. He's done what not many fighters have done. But that's still a fight that interests me, for sure.
Obviously, we know, looking at the build-up to Eubank Jr. versus Ben, that you have got a relationship with Chris Eubank Jr. What's your relationship like with Harlem? Have you had any interaction with Harlem before?
Yeah, I'm very close with Harlem. I've got a great relationship with Harlem. That's why I won't take a view. You know, like, ultimately, it doesn't matter what I think about boxing. It doesn't matter what I think about winning and losing, because I'm not the one getting in the ring. I make no difference to the guys getting in the ring. I want to make the best fights, you know, and if I represented Harlem Eubank, I'd say this was the best opportunity for him right now. So, yeah, I'm very close with Harlem. I've always got on well with Harlem. I've helped him where I can, you know, given him advice, spent time with him, you know. So I have a different relationship with Harlem to Chris.
Absolutely. Just moving away from here, we've seen reports this morning that Anthony Joshua is currently negotiating a 3-fight deal with Turki Alalshikh. What is the latest you can tell us on this? When can we first see Anthony Joshua return to the ring?
You know, look, he mentioned in his interviews when we were all in Saudi, he had an operation coming up. You know, and the key is get back, get fit, and then we'll make a plan. So it's all about getting back in the gym, getting back in training, and then we can make a plan of what route we go. You know, so no news just yet.
What fights would you like to see within this 3-fight deal that's being negotiated?
Look, there's great fights. I mean, I still love like Deontay Wilder as a fight for Anthony. Again, we're in a sport that's about narrative as much as anything else, and that's where the losses shouldn't come into it. It should be about, does this fight interest people? Does this fight sell? You know, that's what we want to see. We want to see a build-up where there's something there, where there's some meaning to it. You know, Deontay Wilder against Anthony Joshua is a fight that's been spoken about for many years. I'd love to see that happen.
How strongly do you feel that we could see Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua within these next 3 fights? Do you feel that there is still legs to stand on to make this fight happen?
I don't count anything out. I think we do too much talking though. You know, I think there's so much back and forth and people get disappointed when it doesn't happen. You know, I was with Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora in Monaco. Look, Tyson's had a tremendous career, obviously. If he chooses to stay retired, then fair play to him. I would love to see the Anthony Joshua fight. Do I think it could happen? Yes. Am I going to, beyond that, let's just wait and see. You know, it's a fight many people want to see. It's a huge fight, again, regardless of prior results. I think it's a fight that makes a lot of sense for both guys, but let's see what happens.
Do you believe Tyson Fury is genuinely retired? Because obviously, while he does keep coming out on Instagram,
he is now.
He is.
Yeah, I mean, he is.
But we're seeing a lot of, he's back in the gym with Sugar Hill. He's putting videos with John Fury on his story saying incoming, and it's just leading to what we all think could be that big fight announcement.
I mean, look, he's at the same time he's a promoter, isn't it? Like, as in, he does things that get people talking. You know, that's part of what makes him what he is. So only he will know. Look, he's come back 4 times from retirement,
Yeah,
4 times. You know, so you can't count anything out. But you never know. You won't know until he's 80 when the real retirement was, will you? Or maybe he's still doing it at 80.
You never know. He might still be
Misfits.
popular. You never know. Just lastly on Anthony Joshua, we know that he's already had a very long, successful career. Could these 3 fights being negotiated now, could these possibly be the last 3 of the Anthony Joshua story?
Again, who knows? Who knows where it's going to go? Who knows where, what's going to happen? He could have 20 more fights, he could have 1 more fight. You don't know. I think if he retired tomorrow, he's done, again, a bit like what we said about Josh Taylor, he's done more than 99.99% of people in the sport have done, and brought so much to the sport as well. So I don't look too far ahead. It's about every step making a decision that's the right decision. So let's see how things play out.
Will you have Anthony keeping an eye on July 19th for Usyk Dubois 2 and maybe looking at getting the winner of that?
He's the biggest. I think Anthony Joshua is the biggest name in the heavyweight division for people to fight. So for all those guys, Usyk, Dubois, he's the biggest fight out there for them. You know, that's just the reality of it because he has a huge commercial profile. But again, it's about what he wants to do and what he wants from the sport. He's a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. 2-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. He's sold out stadiums around the world. He's been involved in the biggest nights. So he'll decide what drives him. And that's something I think we need to work out and then make a plan from there.
Just lastly, looking back at May 17th, we saw Fisher Allen 2. For Dave Allen now, back with Matchroom, it's like a full circle moment. That
he's over there as well, wearing
right?
shorts, and it's freezing outside.
It is absolutely freezing today. What fights would you like to make for Dave Allen moving forward now? What fights make the most sense for Matchroom?
I think it's about what makes the most sense. There's a lot going on in the heavyweight division, obviously, as we know, as we've seen over the last 16, 18 months. Dave's in a perfect position but at the same time, he's going to decide what route he wants to go. We can make a massive fight for Dave Allen tomorrow. Of course we could. There's huge cross-promotional opportunities as well with Queensbury for big fights. But it's about making the right decision. I think he's finally enjoying boxing, probably more than he ever has in the past. I'm excited because you saw the crowd he had in there at the Copper Box. Look, 2 great guys in that fight, Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen. You forget Johnny Fisher's 26 years old as well, and what he's already done in his career. And you then look at what Dave Allen's been through in his career, and now he's probably at the peak. Like, who would have said it? I've got to be honest with you. 2-3 years ago, when we said about John, I didn't think Dave Allen should fight Johnny Fisher. Like my personal view, but been proven wrong, and happy because he's a great guy as well. But yeah, there's lots of opportunities for him, so we'll see how it plays out.
Frank, leave it there. Thank you very much
Cheers,
for your time.
Mate. Good to see you.
Cheers, Frank. Thank you very much.